What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today, we're going back to the 2008 NFL Draft as we discuss the draft pick trade that would lead to the Baltimore Ravens selecting franchise quarterback Joe Flacco. So, the original trade was between the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans, and it saw Baltimore acquire the 18th overall pick in exchange for the 26th, 89th, and 173rd. So obviously we're going to start with Baltimore. And with the 18th pick, they went with quarterback Joe Flacco. Now, this video is not to discuss if Joe Flacco is elite or not. We're not going to get into that one today. But Flacco, basically what happens as a rookie is he wasn't going to be the starter, but he gets forced into the starter's role due to injuries. And he does okay. Now, over the next 3 seasons after his rookie year, he's good and bad and good and bad, but never really developed into a franchise quarterback, but also wasn't a bust. You know, he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. But at this point, it didn't matter because the team Baltimore had put around him was so good that they could have put anyone at quarterback that's halfway decent and they would have been competitive. So in 2012, Joe Flacco breaks out big time, and he helps lead Baltimore to a Super Bowl appearance and eventual win over the 49ers. Now, he did great, and he was named Super Bowl MVP. Now, he gets a big contract, and he struggles the following season. Big time. Now, he rebounds well in 2014, but halfway through the 2015 season, he would tear his ACL. And the next 3 years, 16, 17, 18, he's okay. He's not great, but he's not bad. He's, again, just okay. Now, he ends up getting traded after that. Now, oddly enough, he was just a one-time Super Bowl MVP. He never made a Pro Bowl, none of that stuff. Now, I mentioned he was traded. So he gets traded to the Denver Broncos in exchange for a 2019 fourth-round pick. So that 2019 fourth-round pick would become the 113th overall selection, with which the Ravens would select running back Justice Hill. So Justice Hill has mostly been a backup since joining Baltimore, but there is definite potential for him in his career. The real question is, will it be in Baltimore or will it be elsewhere, because they have a lot of good running backs on that team, and he's just kind of pushed behind them all on the depth chart. So that's Baltimore's haul. What did Houston get? So with the 26th selection, Houston would select offensive tackle Dwayne Brown. Now, Dwayne Brown was an underrated left tackle for 9 seasons after being drafted. Now, after the 9 seasons, he wanted more money. It made sense. And rather than pay him, the team just said, okay, fine, hold out. So he held out for a little bit. He comes back for 1 game, and he does okay. And then they end up trading him. What's interesting about this whole thing is it was just so strange. And nobody understood why they let him hold out, into the season. But they would trade him. And in Houston, he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time first-team All-Pro, and 1-time second-team All-Pro. And they did get a decent haul for him. So they would get a 2018 third-round pick and a 2019 second-round pick, both from Seattle, in exchange for Dwayne Brown, and a 2018 fifth-round pick. So, of course, we're sticking with Houston here. So that 2018 third-round pick that they got would become the 80th overall selection, which they would use as on a replacement tackle in Martinez Rankin. So Rankin was okay for the Houston over a single season before he himself was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs in exchange for running back Carlos Hyde. And Carlos Hyde had a career year in Houston for a single season before he walked via free agency. So not a horrible move for Houston. With the 2019 second-round pick, again acquired for Dwayne Brown, that pick would become the 54th overall selection, and Houston would use that on cornerback Lonnie Johnson Jr. So Lonnie Johnson Jr., he's been okay since joining the team. Now, he right now is known for his struggles in the AFC Divisional Round Series against Kansas City Chiefs during the 2019 playoffs. He continuously was getting beat by Travis Kelce. Right now, that's the unfortunate highlight of his career. So hopefully he turns it around. Back to the original Joe Flacco trade now. With the 89th selection, the Houston Texans would select running back Steve Slayton, who he was good over 3 years before being waived. He was a good special teams player and a decent running back. And with the last pick that Houston got, with the 173rd pick, they would select safety Dominic Barber. And Dominic Barber was an okay backup. He wasn't great, but he was an okay backup for 4 seasons before walking via free agency. So that's what Baltimore and Houston got. What did the other 3 teams involved get? So we'll start with Seattle here. They got Dwayne Brown in that 2018 5th-round pick. So Dwayne Brown in Seattle, he has helped strengthen Seattle's suspect offensive line. They had always struggled with offensive line problems ever since Russell Wilson joined the team, and it's just been tough for them. But Dwayne Brown really helped them out. He's become a leader on the team. He's a one-time Pro Bowler and a one-time second-team All-Pro. Now, that 2018 5th-round pick would become the 141st pick, which they would use on linebacker Shaquem Griffin. And Griffin himself, he's been a solid special teams player for 2+ years. Of course, everyone knows the story with Griffin. So, yeah, it's a great story. If you haven't heard about it, definitely look it up. Of course, his brother Shaquille is still on the Seahawks with him, but that's not even the gist of it. I don't want to get into details on it, but definitely look into it. Then we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who again traded for offensive tackle Martinez Rankin. And Rankin himself, he appeared in 6 games before a knee injury ended his season in 2019. And he was on the PUP until early November of 2020. He has since returned, but he's been decent. He hasn't been a superstar, but he's been decent. He does have a Super Bowl ring, of course, with Kansas City. Lastly, we have the Denver Broncos, who traded for Joe Flacco. And Flacco in Denver, he was adequate over a half season. And he ends up getting a neck injury halfway through the season. And that effectively ended his season. And then they end up just cutting him rather than pay him the big money. They already had Drew Lock on the team, so they said, why pay this guy all the money? We were hoping Flacco would be a 1-year option anyway. So, yeah. But that was the 2008 trade for Joe Flacco. Who won this trade? It's kind of difficult to say because both sides had good players, but you have to go with Joe Flacco's Ravens. Dwayne Brown, severely underrated left tackle, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This was the Joe Flacco trade. Have a great rest of your day.